5 and the 31. No, they seem to be in the right place on the grid, but there's a bit of pointing and umming and ahhing going on at the back of the grid here. I think they potentially might think they're in the wrong place. So it looks like the green flag is about to be waved in a moment or so. Or, in typical commentator fashion, I am mistaken. But it's an absolutely enormous grid. We've got a car sideways on the grid, which is an effort in itself. That's the number 17 machine in the middle of the field, Andrew Hughes. And the car's bright green anyway, so it draws attention to itself in more ways than one at the moment. I think maybe he's just gone to the wrong side, because they're doing a staggered grid. As they go for their green flag lap, it doesn't really matter too much at this point in time, but...
Like I say, it was confusing.
Yeah.
So if you clicked on the Max 5 grid, it was the other way round to the Caterham grid. It's still with the same cars, if you see what I mean.
Yeah. Well,
so I got confused.
But what they're doing here, rather than doing one sort of one by one alternating in where they are on the grid, they're doing rows of 2 that then go from the left to the right and so on the grid here. So good old staggered formation. It looks absolutely brilliant though. It makes the grid look even more full, and from the cameras down at turn 1, makes them look like they're 4 wide off the start, as I'm sure you probably don't know where to look right now, Adam, with the amount of them that are coming past you.
Yes, they just keep on coming. I haven't even got to the Mazdas getting past me yet. There they are, finally, yes. So there will be a little bit of a gap between the 2 starts. The first 34 cars will take off 20 seconds before the Mazdas. The Caterhams get a bit of a head start. Ian Loversage won't have the immediate issue of any slow-moving Caterhams in his quest to take honours in the Max 5 Championship.
That's very true. They still have to consider the pace difference as well when those cars come past them, so it's going to be certainly an intriguing one for them. It's a 25-minute race, this one, so we do have quite the time for things to change, but obviously with a longer lap here, it may take a bit more time than expected for the Caterhams to catch the back of the Max 5s. But then again, this is motorsport, and you never know. Track conditions looking good though. It's nice and hot. Clear. The sky looking very good at the moment, which is a bit of a turn for what we'd normally expect on a bank holiday weekend.
I think, I'm not sure whom has it the most difficult heading into this race, whether it's us as commentators, the live stream, I suppose TV directors that are broadcasting this live on the Park YouTube channel, or the spectators in the stands and on the banks, because if there are 2 categories to share a grid, the Mazdas and the Caterhams, they're both going to be just as action-packed as one another, and figuring out which battle to follow at any given moment is going to be a challenge.
Oh yeah, it's a complete guessing game, I'm not going to lie to you. There's going to be a few moments in this race where none of us know where to look, so apologies in advance. Because honestly, if you had our jobs, you'd probably understand the same, really. It's crazy. But the times in qualifying were very, very close in the mid-pack of this field. Barely a second, covering 11th to...
deep into the 20s.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah, I was just checking the times on the printout that I've got here on the grid. There's just so many close times together. It's wonderful. It really is. And of course now, it's not just down to lap time here, it's physical track position, because this is the race itself. So all of the slipstream, as you call it, Adam, musical chairs, it will ensue very quickly.
Absolutely. So a good battle expected among the Mark 4s, Mark 3s, Mark 1s, MX-5, and then the Sigma 150 Caterham category as well. It will be the Caterhams that to launch off the line first, and a good range of drivers there in those first few rows of the grid. Jamie Winrow, Jason McCormack, Benjamin Lopez-Appleton, all drivers who I've seen get their elbows out plenty of times previous, and I expect nothing less from them on this occasion.
Yes, indeed. We're going to have a real belter of a first few opening laps if the rest of the race doesn't follow suit. It's always exciting stuff with the Caterhams, hence why we're building it up so much, to be fair, because it's perfectly justified. When they all get going, you will see what we mean. If you haven't seen Caterham racing before, trust me, you're going to think you've never seen anything like it. It's very much one of a kind, as are the cars, you know, and just the overall way that the racing works. It's just epic stuff. Really epic stuff.
You'd have been hard pressed to see much live Caterham racing on television in years past as well. That's one of the beauties of especially Bark, who are live streaming practically everything they're running this year. It's so good for the spectators who can't, or maybe don't yet want to come back into the paddocks and the spectator banks themselves.
Yeah, that's it. You have to be comfortable with your surroundings and, you know, certain that you want to get back into the environment, because not everybody is confident at the moment being back amongst crowds and other people, which is perfectly fine. You know, it's all in good stead to take precautions. But we have the last few cars now lining up on the grid. The green flag is waved at the back, and we're going to get our second race of the day underway. The lights come on then on the gantry, and they're very quickly out and away. The Caterhams dart off the line like a bunch of fleas. All of them right together as they get down towards turn one. It looks like we've had a big change for the lead. I think McCormack might have actually taken that. The MX-5s at the back just waiting for the flag to be dropped now. And they're away. And they're with you, Adam.
Yes, Caterham's already with me, and it's the number 2 car of Jamie Elwood that leads the way here as they go through Maggots Beckett's for the first time. He's got a couple of, well, no, not quite a couple of car lengths, because sliding back up the inside there, I believe, is McCormack as they go down the Hanger Straight side by side. The Caterhams disappear out of my view now, and here come the Mark 4, Mark 3 and Mark 1 Mazda MX-5s, some RX-8s and Mazda 2s in amongst it as well, and it is the number 2 car that leads the way. The number 2 car isn't on my screen, which means it might not be the number 2. I think
no, it's Jamie Elwood, I think it is. He did the fastest sectors in
number 2 Mazda, so I think that's actually
apologies.
the number 12 of John Halliwell, potentially, that's gotten through the order there, but there's certainly a very big 2. Maybe he's just put a rather undersized 1
I noticed
next to it.
I noticed that the number 41.
Yes, there are a few. There are a few who've had to adjust their numbers because of the combined grid, but the Mazda's rather more sedate through the opening corners than the Caterhams. We are just awaiting the Caterhams now through Farm, and here they come, all line astern. There's about 15 cars in the lead train. In true Caterham fashion, we'll count you the numbers as they come past. There's a dive up the inside. The number 125 goes back past the 2, so McCormack only briefly losing the lead somewhere out around the wing. Comes back out onto the Wellington straight now, and indeed, yes, it is the 125 in the lead from the 2, from the 113 of Andrew Perry, who started all the way down in 8th place and is already up to P3 out there as they head towards you at the end of the Wellington straight, Chaz.
Fantastic stuff from Perry on this opening lap, and that's really strong stuff. But the thing is, you can start the lap here in 10th place and be leading it by the end of it. You can see them now. Everybody that's down at Luffield will be thinking, flipping heck, are they always this close together? Yes, they are. There's a little duo just breaking away at the front, which of course is McCormack, and I believe it is still Elwood going with him, but the whole field right together, and it is indeed the 2 that's with him. For 3rd place, though, it's the 55 and the 113 swapping places going through there as well. I believe was potentially the 121 of Kramer getting involved in that fight as well. He's managed to make a place, but that's only through cops. You never know what can happen at the rest of the lap, Adam.
Absolutely. In my experience, every time we get to a corner, there's a new leader, and it's side by side for the lead as they go through Maggots Beckett's. It's number 2 of Elwood back into the lead. The 155. Just the 55 up there into 3rd place. So Benjamin Lopez Appleton has managed to get into 3rd place for the time being. Once again, the entire grid cleanly through Maggots Beckett's. Meanwhile, it is the number 12 of John Halliwell that leads among the Mazdas from the 86 of Benjamin Greenhill. They just come up towards me here at Maggots Beckett's now, and already that number 12 car in the hands of Halliwell is getting quite a gap, a good couple of seconds over the 86. Then the battle for 2nd among the Mazdas, back down to 6th. Is all line astern. Back to the Caterhams then, that should just be coming out through Farm again in just a couple of seconds, and we'll see how much it has changed. There's the small matter of the Hanger Straight and Stowe, which is one of the better places for overtaking manoeuvres in the Caterham category. Here come the top 2 now, who are breaking away somewhat. Some dust being kicked up this time by as they go through Farm. Let's take a look as they go through the complex. It's the 125 still in the lead from the number 2. It seems to be, in the early going at least, McCormack versus Elwood that is the story of the race, but leading the charge at the moment from 3rd down to somewhere in the top dozen. Now, it's actually side by side for 3rd place, I should correct myself. It's Lopez, Appleton and Perry side by side for 3rd position, and a move to the outside from Elwood on McCormack as they head to Brooklands.
Absolutely non-stop stuff once again. One of the guys that really didn't have a good first lap was Witten in the 112 machine. That's Andrew Witten. He dropped 11 places, but you're right, the lead 2 definitely making this a 2-horse race at the moment. They've certainly got a gap over the rest of the pack, and if they continue fighting behind, it will stay that way. McCormack now, big slipstream from Elwood as he goes down the inside. Then it's the 55 still in 3rd place, Lopez Appleton, then everybody else queuing up behind, but it looks to me like Elwood has got it done, and he has, even before the braking zone at Copse. So wonderful stuff, very good commitment, but everybody else there just jostling for position. There's the odd 1 or 2 places gained here and there, and that's common stuff in catering racing, because you never know where you're going to end up. Now, further down, in terms of the Mazdas, it is still Halliwell. He's actually got quite the gap now over Greenhill and Loversige. I think they're still the same way around, but there's a train of 5, but they are some 3 seconds off your class leader at the moment in the number 12. Like you say, there is a very thin number 1 on that. One of them's run wide at Luffield. That's the Mark III MX-5, the 86 machine. So that is actually Greenhill that's dropped down a little bit. He's lost places to Rodison and Hicks on that lap. He's still ahead of Loversige, who's also dropped down. So both of them having a bit of a clumsy lap, you could say.
Absolutely, and the X factor potentially for the rest of the pack versus Halliwell is the fact that Halliwell certainly doesn't have 20 seconds between himself and the slower of the 150s at this stage. Give it 3 or 4 laps and he is going to have to pick off Caterhams, but of course these cars, even though they're both lightweight sports cars, they do have different strengths and weaknesses, and so even though the number 12 is currently clear in the Max 5s, that could all change once they get in amongst it. Looks like there's been yet another change of position. They're perpetually side by side through Abbey and Farm as they come back into my line of sight. It is the 125 of McCormack in the lead from Elwood. I believe we have a new car leading the train from 3rd through 5th, who are themselves starting to break away from 6th place down. In 3rd place now is the 114 of Yates. So David Yates, who started in 6th place, has been making good progress. He's up there in 3rd place. They are just starting to string out here, Chaz, on the 3rd lap of the race.
Yeah, we're going to get a little bit of spread, but what they tend to do is they move apart in like battle packs, don't they? They sort of group together and then separate. So even though you do get 3 or 4 cars that do end up on their own, they're still very close together. Still the lead duo though, McCormack now in front of Elwood once again. They come to cross the line. This time McCormack defends the inside, Elwood goes to the outside. Just behind it still Lopez Appleton ahead of Yates. They cross the line once again. They've still got Perry in there with them. Then we've got Winrow, Polsetter, Kramer, Christie, Perry, Child, Delusignan rounding out your top 10. 3 places gained on that lap for the number 66 car of Barry White. No, not the Barry White, but he's literally driving around at the moment saying, let's get it on. And he's absolutely flying. That
would be amazing if Barry White also raced a car.
Oh, can you imagine him over the team radio? It'd be phenomenal.
Yes, I can.
Yeah, exactly. He can absolutely do the job. Now, in the Mazdas, though, Halliwell, very considerable lead at the moment, actually, hasn't he, Adam? He's absolutely on it.
Yes, Halliwell making great strides at the head of the Mazda 5, or Max 5 pack. Gap between the first place car and the second, we'll see it in a minute in terms of the Max 5s. It's well, it's only 4.7 because Rodison has started to find some pace, actually gained a 10th back this time by, so maybe, just maybe, in 16 minutes and 20 seconds time, it might be a little closer there in the Max 5s, but certainly for now, Halliwell has control over the speed.
Yeah, definitely. He's just managing the race to his own potential at the moment. The RX-8 has just gone flying past me with Ben Taylor at the wheel in the 184. Wonderful rotary engine car. Sounded very good indeed. Very small engines in the rotary cars, but they do sound absolutely wonderful. They usually rev very high indeed, as they famously did in the Mazda 787B and 767Bs. Also got the Mazda 2 coming past me now, which is the 25 car. It's Andrew Stacey at the wheel. He's in a bit of no man's land at the minute, but the Caterhams will be on these guys a bit sooner than expected, I'd say.
Yes, absolutely. I think maybe give it 3 more laps, maybe even 2 more laps, and we could have it. We do have quite a lot of debris just down. Don't see whom shed a wheel arch, but there is a wheel arch down on the Wellington straight. Other drivers are picking it up as they go down the straight, and I fear at the very least that's going to have to be controlled under a yellow. But with cars spread across this Grand Prix circuit, it may have to be a little bit more than just a local yellow.
McCormack's actually spread his lead out quite nicely now at the front. There is a car on its way into the pits. I'm wondering whether that is the offender that has lost a wheel arch, the number 113. It looks like it's come off the right rear. Can you see anything from down there, Alan?
On my way.
There we go. We'll hear from that as it goes. I'll keep an eye out meanwhile as they come past my commentary position here at Maggots Beckett's for any cars with signs of damage. Yes, there is one, and rather significantly, the 129 car of Child, which was 8th place across the line. His right front wheel arch is flapping around in the breeze with aplomb. Unfortunately, rather separated from where it's supposed to be, so certainly there was some contact there, and it's so easily done, especially in the slipstream. If you get a good run onto the Wellington straight, before you know it, sometimes you can be a little bit too close for comfort with the car directly ahead of you.
Yeah, very true indeed. And you know, despite these Caterhams being effectively closed wheel arches, you know, they still do have some of the open wheel traits, don't they, when it's wheel-to-wheel contact like you'd see in...
Where is this car of which you speak?
It did come into the pit lane, a black one. The 113 might have gone all the way through, you know.
There's nothing in the pit lane. I was at the back. I was chatting with someone at the back of the garages, but I've got nothing in the pit lane as far as I'm concerned.
It's a big shame for Andrew Perry. Started 8th, was 3rd place towards the end of the first lap, and now finds himself heading back to paddock. Meanwhile, just coming into the loop and back towards the Wellington straight, the top of the Caterham order, well in amongst now the MX-5s, the back end of the MX-5s and the Mazda 2s, so the traffic is now going to play its part. The numbers 2 and 125 go either side of one of the Mazda's 2s. That's of course the battle for the lead, and then 3rd place through about 7th are in a pack as well. The local yellows seemingly have been withdrawn from the Wellington straight. The debris still very clearly there, visibly there, but with the pack having gone through once, I suppose, and it is offline, so I suppose it will just about be okay to keep this race going.
Now it looks to me like Elwood has taken the lead back off McCormack. He has. He's in front of him now as they come out of Luffield. They're all getting very close to one of the MX-5s as they go through. It's Lopez Appleton then behind, ahead of Yates, and then just behind him Kramer is just there, although Elwood hasn't been picked up by the timing beam by the look of it for some reason, so I'm not sure what's gone on there. There's a big 6-car train in the middle of the field headed up by the number 22 car just going past me. That's Buckley in 28th place. It seems like there is a bit of a delay on the timing. I'm not surprised though with the amount of cars that it's got to deal with right now, because there is an absolute plethora of them. But Buckley's got a real train behind him. He's actually gained 2 places on that last lap to get there, with Johnson in the number 45 just behind gaining 3. But Elwood is now confirmed at the top of the charts.
It's an excellent sight as the Caterham pack now starts to dispatch the back end of the Max 5s. Watching the Caterhams dance around them through Maggots and Beckett's is absolutely fascinating viewing. As the top 2, Elwood and McCormack, came back past my commentary position here for the first time. Of course, they come past me at Maggots Beckett's, and then they come back past me as they go onto the Wellington straight. It was Elwood ahead at the line, but by the time they reached me at Maggots Beckett's, McCormack had got back past. They are trading places, much like you may have traded cards in your secondary school days. They are proper line astern, if not side by side, at pretty much all times. I'm sure by the time they got to the end of the Hanger Straight, it had changed once again. They are side by side as they come through Farm and towards me, but it is still the number 2, in fact. It is Elwood again, who is into the lead in this battle. It's constantly chopping and changing. They come out onto the approach to the Wellington Straight. Now, what kind of run does McCormack have? Doesn't look like it's exceptional, but the rather undrag efficient shape of the Caterham does mean that if you're within a few tenths, you'll be right there by the time you're at the end of the straight. And as they approach Brooklands, I fear it's side by side for the lead.
Have to wait till they come into view. We've got the wonderful BRDC clubhouse in front, and Elwood is just in front now. But they've got this really comprehensive gap, especially in Caterham terms. They've got a very, very big gap behind them to the other 3 cars inside the top 5. They're having their own little ding-dong as well, to be fair. And Lopez Appleton has been holding on really well at the front of that. But it's the number 2 of Elwood, ahead of the number 125 of McCormack. Lopez Appleton actually just getting back in front now of Yates. Kramer's still got the best seat in the house for that one. 6th place is still Winrow. He's very much on his own. And then behind him, there's a fantastic battle between Christie and Child as well. Although, again, Elwood's transponder still not picking him up straight away. So he's dropping down the order for anyone watching on TSL. But this is just awesome stuff. There's another duel just going on in front of me here. The 56 and the 17. That's Hughes and Wells right together across the line. There's nothing subtle about Hughes' car. The bright green thing, like I said before, he was sideways on the grid. So he was properly drawing attention to himself in multiple ways. But now they're going through the Mazda traffic, Adam. It's a little bit harder to pick them out. There's actually, sorry, just to interrupt myself and yourself, there's a car in pit lane now with a wheel arch that is very much in the high downforce position.
Yes, that was the number 142 car. I saw that come past my position. Worth noting, the Max 5 battle just coming towards Brooklands now, firmly caught up, has been John Halliwell. He has got company in the battle for the lead in the Max 5s.
Great stuff from all of them at the moment. They've just come past, actually, I would say they've come past me, they're just coming past me now. You're right, Rodison was at the back of the field when they lined up on the grid, but he's now ahead of the number 12 machine of John Halliwell, so fantastic stuff.
Very simple with Mudguard on a Caterham. You rip it off and send him on his way, and that's exactly what's happened.
There you go.
Alan's got to witness engineering at its finest down there.
It's perfect.
And I'm witnessing a great dice now as they head towards Maggots Beckett's. It's side by side for the Mazda lead. The 555 holds on to the lead, so Paul Rodison from the back holds onto the lead, but he's got a lot of company in the form of John Halliwell. Halliwell's looking to try and set himself up for a good slingshot out of Beckett and down the Hanger Straight. We'll see how that one plays out in just a few moments. Meanwhile, the Caterham leaders already headed down the Wellington Straight and back towards Chaz on the main straight. The top 2 still fairly far separated from the battle for the podium. Battle for the podium looking fairly equidistant. No one quite able to find a way by the other yet.
Yeah, they do just keep sort of trading blows at the moment. Now that 3-car train behind them that I mentioned earlier is now a 4-car fight, so they've got the full barbershop quartet going on. There's a little bit of argy-bargy almost, wheel arch to wheel arch down the straight. That's the 55 and the 114 once again swapping places. Kramer is in there just watching as Winrow has actually got in front of him on that previous lap. We've got the 129, as you mentioned before, with the arch flapping in the wind, very elegantly so, on the bright green car. And then just coming into my sight now is another, I believe, 8-car train of Caterhams. Honestly, like I said before, it's like someone kicks a beehive with these things and they all just come out to play. It's the 112 leading the way in that battle, which is Whittam.
Absolutely.
Oh, sorry, someone's just moved over on him on the straight as well. Puts him on the grass slightly as they go down the what they call the Heritage Straight here now. That was a scary, scary moment. Manages to save it. Luckily, the awareness was there and he managed to move out the way quickly enough. But wow, that was a bit of a twitchy bum time there.
Absolutely. 555 and 12 come past my commentary position once again. So the battle for the Mazda lead between Halliwell and Rodison just coming towards you, and I think Halliwell may be looking to the inside of Rodison as they approach Brooklands. Just able to see from my position who comes out ahead. Am I? Can't quite see from this range, but great battling in the Max 5s. As we predicted, battles in both categories.
Yeah, I'm just watching the Caterhams go through club now. So many of them side by side, banging wheels as they go from left to right. And the weight transfer of the car really settles them down for the battle in the, for the lead in the Max 5s. You're right, they are right together here. We've got Rodison defending the inside from Halliwell. He's managed to do that just right through there. as I mentioned earlier in the day, I won a sim race here in an MX-5 once, and it's such a hard circuit to defend that, especially with the slipstream. But obviously they're doing it for real, and I wasn't.
We have a Mazda 2 fully sideways coming to a halt at Beckett's. It's had a bit of a moment there, to say the very least of it. Gets back underway now under its own power, but it's rather curtailed the advances of the number 12 of John Halliwell. So Halliwell had to back out of a potential run on Paul Rodderson on the approach to Maggots and Beckett's. So traffic just starting to play its part in various different ways. I believe the Caterham lead battle should be back with you.
They are indeed. Nice judgment. As they come through Woodcote then, Elwood still leads the way. We've got just over 5 minutes of this race left to go, so a couple of laps still in the books. They've got a bit of a gap back. There's one of the MX-5s getting in the way of the... Is that the 129 car? It is. Sort of waving his wheel arch at him, sort of like a waved fist in anger, like, get out of the way, sunshine. As they all try and negotiate, they're doing what's called a zonta, as they're going either side of him, much like Hakkinen did on Schumacher in the Belgian Grand Prix many, many moons ago. A very famous manoeuvre that we all know and love. But there's just so many of them. As we said before, Adam, when they were just on their green flag lap, you just don't know where to look. They just keep on coming.
At the moment, I think one of the ideal places to look is that battle for third place, the 114 and the 55 at pretty much dead even at the moment. The 114, of course, of Yates has got back past Lopez Appleton since they last crossed the line, but they're having an absolutely great fight, and they've got 2 others in the form of Winrow and Kramer right there behind them. Should they make any form of slip-up or get too into their battle. Winrow, in fact, in 5th place in the 46 car, of course, started on pole position and actually has the fastest lap of the race to his name. So unfortunately, even though he's been going very quickly both in this race and in quali, he hasn't been able to really string that 1 lap pace into a podium finishing position as of yet, but he's not too far away. We'll see how the fortunes reverse. They come back into my line of sight now at Farm, the top 2, and it is still Elwood from McCormack. McCormack just has a speculative look to the inside, but nothing can be done there as they head through the loop. 3rd, 4th, 5th and 6th is Lopez Appleton now, I believe, into 3rd place. Yes, it is. And then I think the 121 of Kramer has got into 4th place and is being harangued by Yates in the 114 directly behind. So unfortunately the 46 of Jamie Winrow has been demoted a place on that lap. He's down to 6th.
It's not going too well for Winrow. Starting from pole position, you've got all hopes and all positive thoughts going forward, but nobody can touch these top 2 at the moment. You usually see that when a battle starts out front, they just go backwards completely into any other battles that develop behind them, but they've just got nothing at the moment for these 2 at the front. But still, it is Elwood really flying in the fluoro orange coloured roll cage machine.
We have an excellent battle as well further back in the Mazdas for 3rd through 6th, I believe it is, in the Max 5 order. Everyone from Hicks in 37 through to the 45 of Shipley within, I want to say about 2 seconds. They're having an absolute corker of a battle for 3rd and 4th in Class A, and of course Greenhill, the interloper there in the Class B, the Mark III MX-5. So great to see that battle also going on further down the order in the Max 5s. They've often struggled for numbers in the last couple of years, but still absolutely excellent racing every time I see the Max 5s. With the combination of them and the Sigmas, it has been very exciting to keep in touch with this racing. Speaking of the Max 5s, the top 2 leading towards me now, under braking into the arena section. Great to see these Mark 4s in particular. Every time they go under braking, because they have the ABS, they actually flash their emergency lights, such is how standard they are. The systems are yelling at them saying no, 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 no,
oh, yeah.
And the drivers are saying yes. And it is again line astern down the, as you say now, the Heritage, the Wellington Straight, and I think going to the outside there was Halliwell. Halliwell maybe looking to the outside of Brooklands. It's been done before, many a time.
Oh, not quite this time. He tries to get a cutback as they go into Luffield, but Rodderson doing a great job at defending, just putting the car where he needs it at the moment. We had a little spin for Jonathan Ems in the 83 car on that previous lap just coming out of Luffield, but he's managed to continue with no visible damage or any issues with the car, but it's still Roddison leading the way. We've got less than a minute to go now, so as the leaders make their way round, I think we'll get one more lap after this one, Adam.
Yes, absolutely. The leaders already heading down Wellington Straight and towards Brooklands, so they'll break the timing, being in time to do one last lap, and that's going to be good news for everyone embroiled in that battle for third place, except for the person in third place, potentially, the hottest of hot seats. Just to again switch focus back to the Mazdas very quickly, Loversage on that lap dropped down from 4th to 6th in the Max 5 order, so Loversage has been rather demoted. Don't forget he was the pole sitter, so he's gone from 1st to 6th in the course of this race. It's been a tricky time for him. Last lap of the day then last lap of this race I should say, for the Caterhams, as I believe they'll be coming back into my view soon. Will we see McCormack or Elwood on the top step?
It's anybody's guess at this point. It could go either way. You never know, actually. McCormack might be playing the mind games here and just waiting for the final lap. You don't want to be the lead car going on to the final lap in something as sensitive to slipstream as this, do you? You need to be the guy that's got the advantage. He could just hold back until the Wellington Straight, make sure he's got it nailed for Brooklands, and then go from there. The timer has hit 0, so they should be with you any second now, mate.
Oh, they're already on the run down through the Hanger Straight and towards Stowe. It is Elwood still in the lead as they went out of my line of sight, and I believe that is still the case just as they head through Stowe, but it is very close indeed. I think McCormack actually may have snuck through on the slipstream down at the Hanger Straight. The battle for third also still under hot contest. Lopez Appleton, third place across the line and third place going through Maggots Beckett, and sure enough, it was a move for the lead by McCormack on the approach to Stowe Corner. I can just see that on the live stream, albeit a little bit delayed, courtesy of the live delay on YouTube. So there was a move there just approaching Stowe. So we'll see how that turns out as they go through Farm back into my view, and it is still McCormack in the lead of the race. But does Elwood dive to the inside under braking? No, he does not. Bides his time, and with good reason, because if he's right on the back of McCormack as they head down the Wellington Straight, it could well fall back into Elwood's favour. He gets a good run out of the loop. They've got one car for company. It's the 11, and just avoiding the back of the 11. They're going left, right. They're having to avoid those panels that I discussed being down there earlier on. Elwood looks to the outside line as they come back towards you. I think it'll be side by side on the last lap.
McCormack's gone really deep into Brooklands. I'm not sure whether there was contact, but the two of them have gone very, very far off the road, and it is Elwood that has come out of it on top. He goes through Luffield with about 5-6 car lengths in his favour, and he's going around the final corner now at Woodcote. He's going to go past the number 31 MX-5, which won't have to do another lap, but it's Elwood that takes the checkered flag from McCormack. What a fantastic battle between them. Who's going to take the final podium spot? Is it Lopez Appleton? It is. Brilliant stuff from the 55. Manages to stay ahead of the likes of Yates, Kramer and Winrow as well. They're side by side across the line, the 167 and the 102. That's Christian de Lusignan, and de Lusignan was losing that battle, unfortunately. Didn't get the win out of those pair, at least in that one, but again, fantastic battle packs all the same. Round the final corner now comes Neil Shaw in the 333 Mazda 2, and he's suddenly got this absolute army of Caterhams about to swarm him at the line. It's a horrible sight from here. I've got the Mazda coming right towards me, and then all of them just fanning out gradually behind them there, 2 by 2 across the line. It's the 17 and the 27. It goes the way of the 17 for 19th position there over Savage, who rounds out your top 20. Another slightly close battle there, 85 and 45, which is Johnson and Loughlin. Loughlin gets ahead actually, and Buckley drops behind the pair of them in the 22 on that final lap.
So just to pick up on the Mazdas that are still the leading of the Mazdas didn't get lapped, so they're still in the midst of their race. The top two have rather fanned out a little bit here. The 555 of Paul Roddison has a comfortable advantage over the number 12, so it should in theory be Roddison just ahead of John Halliwell. The battle for third place, however, is much less secure. They come towards me here at the loop for the final time, and there's still potential for some switcheroos. Hicks in the 37, Greenhill in the 86. They've got a Caterham for company as well, which may stifle the run just slightly of Hicks in the 37 for the final rostrum space in the overall Max 5 category. I think that Greenhill in the 86 is just a step too far back to challenge for third into Brooklands, but there is traffic in the way as well that could yet cause a change of place.
Roddison manages to take the win in the Max 5 category. He finishes behind Benfield on the road, who was the Caterham between them, but Halliwell is second. But like you say, it's now down to whether Hicks or Lovasic can beat one another to the line, and it's very, very close indeed. But it is going to be Hicks literally getting a push as they went to the line there from Lovasic. But of course, Greenhill between them wins his category as well, which is the sorry, it was Greenhill. It was Battleman. Apologies, I've messed that up there. But it's the B class victory for Greenhill. B class being made up of the Mark III Mazda MX-5s, but what a very, very lively race there, Adam. Again, we didn't really know where to look with all the lap traffic and everything. There's a lot to look at, but smashing stuff from everybody there. Really good driving standards as well.
Absolutely great stuff, but the nature of this, the length of this circuit and the gap between the two lead battles in the respective championships, I believe, means that it won't be too long before Alan is joined by the winners down in pit lane. But yes, brilliant racing.
I'm assured we'll get 6 drivers, so top 3 in 150s, Sigma 150s, and top 3 in Max 5. I'm not sure that's in practice what we'll get, but certainly we'll have enough drivers to share out and an interview between the live stream and here at Silverstone as well.
Wonderful stuff. That is our second race of the day. The next race will be the Caterham Graduates Championship, the Sigmax and Sigmax 135 cars. But that was awesome stuff. Really, really awesome stuff there from the Sigma 150s and of course the Max 5s as well. Great to see them get a bit more support from the Caterham grid as well, really, isn't it, Adam? Because
you're fine here, Jamie. Well done, mate. Hello, everybody. Welcome down to what is actually the Assembly Heritage Park Fair, mate. And here he is, Jamie Elwood. Jamie, congratulations. My word, that was intense, wasn't it? You had Jason behind you constantly nipping at your heels.
Oh, absolutely. I thought it was going to be a 10-car battle, and it turned out to be a 2-car battle, but it was just as intense, just trying to stay with Jay when he was leading. We were swapping places and trying to break the toe, so we managed to do that. And it all came down to the last lap, and neither of us wanted to break into the last corner. And we both went sailing off, and I managed to recover first.
I was going to say, as you came over the line, you had about 1.3 second lead, so it looked comfortable, but it certainly wasn't that case. I didn't realise you guys had kind of gone off together at the end.
We've both taken an off-track excursion and back on again in the field lap time.
Wow, well, look, championship leader though, Jamie, you held it from last round as well. It's going pretty good this season so far, isn't it?
It's not bad at all, but you've got to keep grabbing those points while you can. Anything can happen around here.
And remember, you've got to do it all again this afternoon, mate.
Absolutely.
Well done, I'll let you get back. Thank you very much. I was actually thinking we were having more of the cars coming down here, but it seems like we're not. They're heading all straight off. What a fantastic race that was. Congratulations to that match. Jamie Elwood picking up the race, but Jason McCall was right behind him, wasn't he? And that battle for third was insane as well. Congratulations to the Max 5 Championships. Well, incredible race with those guys. It is almost time for our next race now, so I'm going to hand back to your commentary team to talk you through the action.
Then the last lap was what it was all about, trying to outbrake him into a field.
In which case, can you explain what happened?